Hey Harvest Time family, so glad that you are tuning in tonight. My name is Chad and I'm the Associate Pastor here at Harvest Time, and just excited to hang out with you. Do us a favor, click the share button, click like. We are just having some conversation tonight with one of my friends. His name is Matt Whitson. He is the director and co-founder of Arkansas Family Alliance. It's an organization that does some really cool work with foster care. If you were here with us this weekend, you heard us talk a little bit about it, but we just want to have some conversation with him tonight and maybe give you some more insight and some detail about exactly what they do and how we can be a part as the church and the family of God. We are very excited here at Harvest Time to be partnering with them, and so Matt, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Excited to partner with you, and just really excited about what you guys do. And excited about being a part of that. So talk to us a little bit about how Arkansas Family Alliance came about and kind of the mission of the organization.
Yeah, so it came about in a way that was obviously God just kind of directed our path. I resigned from the local church after about 15 years in Sebastian County, knowing the crisis that was in our town within the context of foster care. When I resigned, I didn't know this is where we would be.
Right.
But my wife and I lived this life for, we have a biological son and then 3 adopted children, and 2 of them come from foster care. And so we understand the isolation, we understand the trauma that comes from that, how lonely it feels at times and how hard it is. And so we knew that there was this vast need in Sebastian County and in the state of Arkansas within the crisis of foster care. And so as God just directed our paths, we were originally going to travel for a year and draw awareness that way and work with local churches across our nation and tell stories of these families that were fostering and were adopting, and just let the nation know, and specifically our town and our county and our state know how important this was, and draw awareness that way. And life circumstances happened. Some family crisis happened. Mm-hmm. We ended up staying here instead of going. And man, next thing we know, we're working with the state. We're in meetings that we didn't know we'd ever been in. And thankfully, just God revealed to us, I don't guess it's a revelation as much as it's a re-awareness of how the church within foster care crisis specifically in our town and our state, if they're not involved, there's going to be a massive struggle. Sure. And knowing our relationship with the church, Chad, and knowing our heart for the foster kids, we'll begin to really kind of tie those two in. So a short story, our long story that I just told you short, lots more details and lots more moving parts, lots more information where God was just so real in those moments. But we know that this is the place that God has us, and we know that it's a great opportunity for Arkansas Family Alliance to rally the local church. Yeah. Not in competition, the local church, the church Big C, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That when we go at something together, right? Yeah. We have the people, I shared this on Sunday, we have the people, we have the resources, we have the time, and most importantly, have God's power in us, right? Yeah. And He can do far more than we can ever imagine or think, right? Yeah. And so just to specifically pinpoint the crisis in our town and rally our community and specifically the church around that, that's what our hope is at Arkansas Family Alliance.
That's so good. And the opportunity that we have as the church, as the body of Christ, to affect real change in real people. And it's kind of intimidating, to think about foster care, and to, for many people, man, God has put that on their heart. And I love your story, you and your family, and, the openness and opening your doors to kids in need, and raising them and providing that loving home. But for so many people, that is either impossible for them in the situation that they're in, or it's just really scary and intimidating. And so that's why I think that, some of what you guys do, you kind of lower the rung on the ladder and make it easier for people, for the average person, for any Christian, for any believer to still lean in and help in an area of great need. So talk to us a little bit about that, about how can the average person, because obviously in our area, the foster care crisis is very real. So talk to us a little bit about the need first in our area, but then also talk to us about the different ways that we can be involved, starting with the low rung on the ladder, but also obviously taking the leap of faith and opening our homes.
Yeah. Well, so I think it's really encouraging. Let me just start here. 2 years ago, we were second in the nation per capita to Cook County, Chicago, within the context of foster care, right?
Wow.
The number of kids in care, right? So we're
That's
just
crazy.
in Sebastian County, we were pushing over 700 kids, touching 800 at times. And so with the church's involvement and the community rallying and collaborating together, all organizations, not all, but a lot of organizations and a lot of churches, a lot of attention, the government's given attention to it. They see the need for churches,
Sure.
and so we start working towards trying to create an avenue where kids aren't in care or they're reunifying with those families that they need to be with. And so, I'm thankful that in a couple of years, foster care in Sebastian County has decreased almost by 40%.
Wow.
Now, if you're a business guy, right, and I go into your office and you're going to give me a raise, and I said we've done this by 40%, and you're probably going to sign the check and hand it over. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
right?
that's incredible.
And that is, in my opinion, a movement of God in a way that when the church gets serious about something in your town, in leadership from the church, in your town gets
real
serious
change
about it.
happens.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. So now I can present that to you. I can present that to Harvest Time. We present that in a lot of different ways, and we see that's data. Yeah. And people are like, I want to be a part of something that's working. Absolutely. Right? So, and that's not just Arkansas Family Lines. That is a lot of people doing a lot of hard work because I think we have to realize, Chad, that people matter. Yeah. Right? They matter to God.
Therefore, they should matter to us.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And they don't always look like me, right? And talk like me and smell like me and act like me or go to the church that I go to, right? They may not go to church, but they matter to God. And so they matter to me. And so if I can give you that, right? And I can give you that from the biblical mandate, right? We can talk about orphans. We can talk about all the charges that scriptures tell us to do. But most importantly, God says to love, and He says to impact your community, and He says, here's the way I see them, and I want you to see them the same way I do. So we do something about that. So that is great news within decreasing the number of kids in care, and it fluctuates because life is hard, and there's a lot of situations that go on. We can talk about more of that later. But let's talk about ways that you as a church and we as churches can get involved from
just the
base level, right? There's two different ways to go, right? I believe, let's go from the mission field. You're either a goer or a sender.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is a mission field that's just on the local level. Yeah. You either go open your home, right? Like you're gonna put your flag down and say, all right, let's bring them on, right? I'm gonna go through the training and do all that stuff. Or you're gonna support those that do, right? Absolutely. We use support at Arkansas Family Alliance a lot because it gives you this, the definition is to hold up, right? Yeah. And there's so many different ways. Support. Oh yeah, there's so many different ways. That's the angle. How do you support a foster family? Well, maybe you support a foster family by supporting us, right? By coming to set up chairs at one of our events, right? By making coffee at one of our events, or joining another organization. There's so many good organizations in our town that are working with foster families and trying to get their homes open and recruiting those families. But it's within the context of Arkansas Family Alliance. We give you so many different options and so many different levels. For instance, I think it was 2 years ago now, 2 years ago, I brought a group of people in from Oklahoma, and they came here on a mission trip. Wow. Right? And I partnered them with our local churches to be point people within, so if Harvest Time had 5 or 6 foster families, how can these people come in and serve your foster families,
Yeah.
right? And it is, you think about how hard life is for you and I.
Yeah.
With, let's say your two boys and the things that you have to do and the places you have to be and,
Sure.
and the job that you have to do.
Yeah,
and,
I need to
all,
sign up for some help too.
right? And all that things, but all that stuff, Chad, and
Right.
and then
It's overwhelming.
yeah, but
for
then
parents.
then you open your homes up and
Right.
think about how overwhelming that is.
And the dynamic completely shifts.
It does.
Yeah.
It changes. How can I take a group of people from Fort Smith and Sebastian County? How can I take the churches and the people in it that are partnering with us?
Mm-hmm.
And how can I send John,
Right.
who has a mower,
Yeah.
to support,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This foster family that has a sibling group of 3 in their home,
Yeah.
right? As simple as mowing the grass sometimes.
Right.
It's so, it is loving those people that are loving those children well,
Yeah.
right?
It makes it sound so easy because it's not, it's not much more than just willingness and obedience, to that tug in your heart. It's just like, hey, I'm willing. Like, well, what am I willing to do? Well, are you willing to mow some grass? Are you willing to set up for an event? Are you willing to just to care?
I feel like, Chad, that one of my responsibilities as a pastor of a church, right? I've been in ministry for 25 years, right? But you step out of it, I know your job. I don't know exactly what you do here, right? But I know the pastor's role.
Absolutely.
And I know what our charge is as pastors. And a lot of times, as Harvest Time is doing this well and trying to really put a lot of attention on serving your community, it is our jobs as pastors to set up our people for success.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the line I would use is, your people, Harvest Time people, want to do something about the local crisis,
Right.
whether it be foster care or another situation, right?
Right.
Sometimes they just don't know how,
Right.
And if you take the foster care crisis and you say, man, there's 500 kids in foster care in Sebastian County only, it kind of messes with people's minds,
Sure.
right? It causes them to be paralyzed.
Yeah, you feel very small.
They really do.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we better not mess with this, right? No, let's mess with it.
Yeah.
Let's go together.
Yeah.
And so as one of my jobs at Arkansas Family Line is to unite them, put them in a position where if they want to do something about the crisis, there's the rings of, the tiers that we're talking about, complete with opening up your home for foster care.
Sure.
And starting just with fixing coffee at a local event that we do, and
Yeah.
a lot of so many things in between.
And so many things in between, and I love that. Obviously in foster care, many people would say, well, there's a reason, that the state's intervening, and that, and many times that reason is, it's heartbreaking. There's abuse and neglect and all those kind of things, and in those situations, the best thing for those kids would be to be removed
No
and be
doubt.
placed with a loving
For
family.
sure.
And the heart of the church and the people of God should respond
That's right.
in those situations. But many times it's not, the fault of the parent or the neglect or the abuse. It's simply just life circumstances out of their control, that they're loving parents towards their kids. They just, they've been dealt a really rotten hand.
That's right.
And it's those parents that really need a family.
That's right.
And we get the opportunity to do that. And so talk to us about that situation, because yes, I believe 100%, I would love for someone watching this video to say, man, you know what, I could open my home. And I would love for someone to say, I could easily show up and help in an event.
Right.
But also, part of what I love about what you guys do, and you talked about it this weekend, is you kind of go upriver and say, okay, where's this starting?
Right.
Let's come in and support that the parents, the biological parents, that you're vetting the needs, all right? And I want you to talk about that, about how we can come alongside of them and with these vetted needs, support them and keep the kids in their homes if that's possible.
No doubt. Yeah, so what you're speaking about is Care Portal.
Okay.
Right? And Care Portal puts immediate needs in front of our community, and specifically the local church,
Yeah.
to walk upstream,
Right.
to support, there's that word again,
Yeah.
to hold up a family
Yeah.
that has no one around them to hold them up.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, it's a great opportunity. I was going to share this a while ago. This is not exact number, so let's just go with round numbers. But roughly 5% of Christians open up their homes for foster care. Okay, so because for round numbers, 95% are like,
Right.
what's my job? Well, we either go or we sin, right?
Right.
And so we want to spend a lot of time from the prevention angle, walking upstream to the point of crisis to try to figure out how to keep those kids from ever going.
Out of the system.
That's right.
Completely, yeah.
Because I think the misunderstanding of the general public about foster care is that if a kid's in foster care, all of them are abusing their children, all of them are addicts,
parents are rotten.
right?
Yeah.
That they're horrible people. So if there's 500 kids in care, there's 500 families somewhere, 500 parents somewhere that are horrible people.
Right.
That is so far from the truth,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so if I can create awareness, right? So the angle I would take would be, I want to build a relationship with you. And because I built trust, right? You trust Arkansas Family Lines, right? We built a relationship over the summer coaching together. That's kind of how we became friends. And then if you trust me, now I'm going to make you aware of a crisis. If I make you aware of a crisis, it now puts in front of you, you can't turn a blind eye, right?
Yeah.
Because the misconception is all of these parents are horrible. That's wrong, right? The realization of it is they just need to be supported, and they live on the poverty line or in poverty, and there is a very small margin for error in poverty.
Right.
And when something goes wrong, what I shared on Sunday from the stage is the ripple effect is massive, right?
Yeah.
And if they can't stop that ripple effect, the state gets involved, and rightfully so.
Right.
And they, for a time, they remove the children from the biological families so that they can get back on their feet, right? That doesn't cause them not to love their kids. That doesn't cause them not to work as hard as they can work to get their kids back. But just think about if at the point of crisis, we give the church family, we give the church Big C, we give Harvest Time the opportunity to rally around that mom, that dad, that family at the point of the crisis to hold them up, right? The kids never ever enter into care, right? Trauma doesn't happen, right? Which is a massive, powerful thing, right?
Yeah.
That if we're around this family, holding them up in the time of their crisis, right? The point of their crisis, and we can do something about it. We can support them. The kids never enter into care. We are the hands and feet of Jesus.
Man, that's so real, because I think about moments in my life. And I've been very blessed not to ever experience crisis at that magnitude or in that way. But I think about the people that when I did have, what was considered crisis in my life, the people that showed up, man, I remember them.
No doubt.
They impacted my life, and I'm different because of them. And what I love about Arkansas Family Alliance and this organization is that it's not just, hey, open your checkbook, write us a check, and we're going to go do this ministry on your behalf. And it's not just, hey, open your home, but you guys have created this system where the church has the opportunity to be the face of the ministry, where, through these vetted needs, we receive the needs through an email or however, receive the needs, understand, say, yes, we can meet that need. And then we get to knock on the door. We get to say, hey, I'm Chad from Harvest Time. I heard that you had this need. I heard that your car was broke down, or I heard that your water got shut off, or I heard whatever happened. Man, I wanted to tell you, I'm taking care of this need, and also to, just share the love of Christ. And to insert yourself into the lives of those family at that moment,
Yes, sir,
is powerful.
Hey, this is a line that I would use right here. That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's two things. It's people who have probably been a part of a local church before, maybe from and I don't want to stereotype this, but maybe Vacation Bible School with Grandma, a bus ministry maybe. Maybe they were brought up in a local church that was across the street.
Most people in our area have some experience in church.
Right, Bible Belt. So, but when they walked in the door, they had a different feeling, right? They didn't know how to act church. They didn't know what to dress. They didn't know all these things. And so they were really not even done on purpose. A lot of times they're just pushed away, and so they just don't go back, right? But they're now asking the local church to come back, right? We're not having to go door to door, which freaks people out, right?
Right.
They are asking Harvest Time. They're asking.
Inviting us.
Yes.
Yeah.
And guess what? The barrier that is broken down is when you are there with a bunk bed, or you're there with a washer, or you're there with whatever the physical need is, right? That it takes the barriers down between them and you, and it's not really about them, it's about me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And here's the great part. They don't really need a bed. Yes, they do.
Sure.
They need Jesus.
Yeah, they need hope.
They need hope.
Yeah.
Right? And the hope of the world, the local church,
That's
is
us.
standing at the door, knocking, saying, it's because of the love of God and His kindness towards me that I want to be kind to you. Right? You get the opportunity to do life with this family, to support this family, and tell them, right? They might not ever come to Harvest Time. It's not about...
We can beg and plead.
No, it's not about them coming here. It's about us loving them in their moment, right? Just as Jesus would do that.
Yeah, and I love that it's, we always are hoping people show up here, but this is an opportunity where they're inviting us into their lives, and obviously when we come, Jesus comes with us.
Oh, yeah.
And so, man, just a super really, just an incredible opportunity. So let's kind of get brass tacks here for just a second. Practical, some next steps. And if you're watching this, I want to give you some ways right now that you can join. You're like, hey, like this is speaking to me. I want to be a part of the solution, and that you can make a difference. We gave you a couple on the weekend. If maybe you were thinking about it, praying about it, or just didn't take that step initially, we'd love for you to do it now. One is you just entry level. You say, you know what, I can't open my home, or I don't even really have time, or I'm not bold enough to go knock on the door and help serve, but I can give, or I can make a difference. You can do that. You can text to give. Like if just basically you can text to give. You can send the amount that you want to give, followed by the word city, to the number 84321. No matter who you are, where you're watching from, all the way across the nation. If you just say, hey, I'll give towards keeping kids in homes. I'll give to make sure that a kid is able to stay with a family, and that family is supported. You can do that. Text the amount that you want to give, so $50, 50 followed by the word city, to 84321, and you can give that way. If you would like to get more hands-on, and this is where the opportunity is really cool for us. Yeah. If you'd like to get more hands-on, you want to meet specific needs. You want to be the one that shows up on the doorstep with the washer, with the bed, with the nightstand, whatever that need is. And you say, like, I can get involved in that. Like, I can help with that. Tell us how we do that, because it's all about receiving an email.
That's right.
It's as simple as receiving an email.
That's the question you asked. Are you willing to receive an email? So we have a partner, our partnership with the state, who is working with these families. There's a reason that these families are involved with the state. The state, under agreement that we have with them, they vet the needs. It goes through a vetting process of 3.
Which takes all the work out of it for us.
Yeah, they're not walking in your church going, can you help me?
Wondering,
That's right.
Can we trust this?
That's
Is this
exactly
a legit
right.
need? Like, you guys do all of that.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So Care Portal is a technologically driven platform that takes the needs of the state, the needs of the hurting, these families they're working with. They put it into an email system. The email system sends it to each church that is involved, specifically Harvest Time, like we're talking about.
Sure.
You would have a point person here, right? That would be basically in charge of being the between person. So that the point person gets an email. They then blanket that to everyone who says, yes, I'm willing to receive an email. It goes out to your congregation, those that are involved. They get to respond. It's a 30-minute training that I could show you. It's easy as pushing a button, and it takes you right back to the caseworker who's working with this family. Yeah. You know what? One of the things that's missed a lot of times is, yes, we get to go be a part of the family that's in crisis, the live. We get to, at the point of impact, but we also get to go be a part of the state, who is, they're a lot of times overworked with a caseload that is massive, and we get to
They're
also
ready to see the church in action.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And so a really great story. Because we are in the Bible Belt, and I was training the state when we first implemented Care Portal in Sebastian County. And a girl looked over at me and said, you're telling me like I spend sometimes all day and sometimes 2 days trying to feel this need for this family, right, to support them. And you're telling me that all I got to do is put it in an email, and it goes to the local church, and the local church responds sometimes as quick as 2 or 3 hours, which or maybe even quicker than that, right? But and when I said yes, you could just see the impact it had on her. She began to cry and say, "Where's this been?" Right? Because she knows her job is to serve those families, right? And her job is to, and sometimes trying to find a physical need and to reach out to all these community places and try to figure out how to work it. It just simplifies the process. Yeah. And it just takes that need, puts it to the church gets to respond, knock on that door. They're asking us to come to the church, right? Whatever that need may be. And the great part is Harvest Time doesn't have to meet every single need because it's the local church in Sebastian County,
body.
Right?
Love it.
Together, right? It doesn't matter what denomination. We're serving and walking together, shoulder to shoulder, saying, let's go attack this crisis at the point of impact to try to keep kids from ever coming into care. So, it's so good. And it's very important too, Chad, to remember that it's not about this system.
Right.
It's about the people.
It's about the person. Yeah.
If we forget the people, right, along the way, if we forget the church going to the caseworker and the caseworker work, then we failed this, right? It's
people
just
over programs.
Yes, it is. It is an opportunity for us to impact the lives of people.
I love it.
From the system called Care Portal.
Yeah, and that's really easy to get involved in. We had tons of people respond this weekend already that said, "Hey, Pastor Chad, I want to be on that team. I want to be a part of that." And the way that you sign up for that is simply send in an email to connect@harvesttime.net. And in the text box or in the title there, subject matter, you can simply just put "I can help." And what we're going to do is we're going to be sending you some information. Matt is going to be back with us. We're going to do some training because how we interact with these people. We want to make sure that we do it effectively. We want to make sure we're doing everything legally. And so we're going to do some quick training. We're going to schedule that both in person. We're going to also make it available to you digitally. So if you're one of our online viewers and you want to be a part, you can still be a part of that. And so just send that email, connect@harvesttime.net, and just say "I can help." And when you do that, we're going to follow back up with you, and we're going to schedule some of that out and get you guys trained, get you signed up so that you're receiving those emails, that those needs are coming through, that we're meeting them as they do, and that we get to be a part of this incredible ministry of supporting that family unit. And so I challenge you wherever you're at in your walk with Christ, wherever you're at, and just in life. Why don't you begin to think and pray about how can I help? What can I do at this moment in this time? Maybe it is that you just support Matt and Arkansas Family Alliance as they are supporting these families by showing up, making coffee, showing up, setting up chairs in that kind of way. Maybe it's that you sign up to receive the email and you're hearing about these needs and you're meeting them as they come in, and you're getting the opportunity to be involved with these families at the point of crisis. And maybe God is speaking to you right now that you have an awesome opportunity to open up your home to these kids that are in need. And maybe, we take James, James said that, true religion and, the proof of our love for Christ is found in our ministry to the widows and to the orphans. And maybe, just maybe, God's moving on your heart right now that you are to open your home and to do that. I would love to see people watching this video take a step, one of those steps. Maybe it's a baby step, maybe it's a quantum leap that you just know that God is telling you to do. Whatever that is, I challenge you, take that step and just watch God honor those steps of faith and obedience. Because, man, when we obey those little pings in our heart and those little feelings, God always comes through and does some really special things.
He shows out, doesn't
He does. So, Matt, I'm honored to be your friend, and I'm really, really excited for what you're doing, and thankful for what you and this organization is doing in our state and in our area, and excited for the opportunity to partner and to affect real change in real people right here. And so thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for who you
Thanks
are.
for having us, man.
And thanks for what you do. I
Yeah,
appreciate it very
appreciate
much.
you too.
So any closing words or anything?
Man, I think, can I share a story?
Yeah, I would love that.
Let me just share the first need that we ever met. So we're going to go back to May 2016, right?
Okay.
So we're going to push over 500 kids served, in the last, what would that be, 3 years?
Right.
So, but this is the impact that people can have in the lives of families.
Yeah.
During that time, a sibling group is at school. They begin to have a smell, right?
Yeah.
A body odor, if you will, that is just different than how they were smelling.
Sure.
And so the counselor gets involved at the school. They call the hotline. The hotline reaches out to the state. The state sends an investigator over. And the mom, and they have a conversation with the mom. And in that conversation, the mom says, I guess I'm just not washing my children's clothes hard enough in the bathtub. Okay? Well, we're thinking, well, that's not that big a deal.
Right.
But I have 4 kids in my house.
Right.
So did this lady, right?
I know what my laundry pile
And
looks like.
I mean, my laundry pile never goes away.
No.
Right?
No.
And I cannot fathom. Now, is not having a washing machine going to get your children removed from their home? No.
Sure.
But the stress of that,
Yeah.
and the time it takes,
Yeah.
and the frustration that comes in single mom working,
Yeah.
trying to do 4 kids laundry.
Yeah.
What can we do? So I tell this story because, as men, Chad, if my wife says, the washing machine is broke down and the dryer's broke down, I don't go to the store and just buy one or the other. I buy both because you have to have matching sets.
They have to match, right?
Well, and the men, right, we're like, well, we better save this washer, right? We'll put it in storage.
Right.
How many washers are in storage all over our town
Right.
that could go to support a family,
Yeah.
but if we just knew about it,
Yeah.
we would go do it.
Yeah,
right?
it's not even have to go buy it. It's just
No.
giving away the things that we're not even using.
Yeah, so
that could change a family.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
So this poor lady and the people that we serve, majority of them, they live in stress that's up here, right? Our stress goes like this,
Right.
So this is how we live.
Wow.
They live here,
Yeah.
all the time. But if I can put a washer in a lady's house where she doesn't have to do her kids' laundry by hand anymore, it takes her stress level down just enough that she begins to do homework.
She's a better mom.
She is.
Yeah.
She has a little bit of hope,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
More than she had.
Yeah.
And it's when the church got involved
Yeah.
and gave her that washer is when impact began to happen, so that relationships started to be built,
Man.
right? So now, not only that, you take her a washer, you get to walk in and set it up for him.
Yeah.
You take her a washer, you get to also buy her some detergent. And before you know it, in a couple hours, you're having a pretty deep conversation with a woman who needs to hear about Jesus. So it's really, really
Man, that's so good. That's so good. I love it. And that's just one story of the countless stories that we have the opportunity that are right here at our fingertips.
That's right.
And we have the opportunity to be a part of. So please, I challenge you, just consider how you can love your city. And for us, this was special to us, and we saw as a necessity, because this isn't just a national need, even though it is, but specifically our area where God has planted us. This is a need, and it's right here in the shadow of our church. And so, just challenge you, pray about how you can make a difference, and whatever that step looks like, whatever way God would ask you. I just challenge you to take the step, send the email, send that text, whatever it looks like, and let's continue to love our city this way. So once again, Matt, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what all God does through you. So thanks for loving your city. We love you, Harvest Time, and look forward to seeing you hopefully this weekend. If not, join us online Sunday at 9:30 and 11. See you guys.